Hi everybody, this is Shaky Chef, and I'm here today to show everybody how to make a really good crispy baguette rolls. And it's real easy to do. It just takes a little bit of time, a lot of waiting. What we're going to do is we're going to start out with 3 cups of all-purpose flour. And what we're going to do is we're going to take 1.5 cups of water, 1 teaspoon of active yeast, and you put the yeast in the water with a teaspoon of sugar. Then you take a teaspoon of salt and put it in the 3 cups of flour. And what we want to do is we want to mix this around so the salt gets dispersed through the flour. And we want to stir the yeast and sugar mixture up. And that should do it right. It doesn't matter if it's a little clumpy. You want to use warm water on this because it'll help the yeast start foaming. But on this recipe, you really don't need to wait. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and after everything's mixed, dump the water into the flour. This is going to be a real loose dough, and it's going to take a little bit of time. But what you do is you mix it up as good as you can. You can use a mixer on this. I like doing it by hand because of the fact that I like to be like a kid and play in my food. So, and it's a lot of fun to really get to know how the dough feels, what feels to a good consistency. Where if you're using a mixer, you really can't tell if the dough is going to be a good dough or just a mediocre dough. So then what we're going to do is we're going to take, at this point, we're going to take a silicone mat. You can use the wood. I like to just use a smaller area to do this stuff. Put 1/2 cup of flour down and just spread it out. And then you take the dough that you've mixed. Like I said, it's going to be pretty loose consistency. And we're going to dump it out onto the flour because you're going to need it. And you want to get flour all over it so it's easy to work with. You're going to get sticky hands, but don't worry about it. Your hands can wash off. If you get a little off of the mat, it don't matter because everything cleans up. And what you do is you kind of grab the dough, stretch it, and fold it over. And then stretch it and fold it over. If it starts sticking on your hands a little more, then just add pick up some of the flour that's on the mat. You're not going to use any more flour than what's on the mat. If you have to add more flour, you didn't mix the stuff right. You won't be kneading all of this flour into the dough. You're only going to need part of it to where the dough feels fairly firm and to where you can get it to form a ball. And once you get it into a decent ball, just about like that should do. And what we're going to do is we're going to grab some cooking spray, oil, and just spray the bowl. You can use a clean bowl if you want. I find it doesn't really matter. Put the dough in a bowl and cover it with a towel in a warm area. And you're going to let it set for about 2 hours. and we'll come back in a little bit, and I'll show you how to, you'll punch the dough down one time, and then come back another hour, and then I'll show you how to form the dough. Okay? Stay tuned. Okay, everybody, it's been about 2 hours, and our dough is doubled in size. I punched it down and let it set for another hour, and it's already risen back up to about double the size. What we're going to do is we're going to spray a little oil on the surface where we're going to work, because you don't need flour for this at this point. The dough is not too sticky, a little bit, but not too bad. And what we're going to do is we're going to cut the dough into 3 pieces. Try and get them as even as possible. And you're going to kind of take it and just form a ball to get a look at it to see if you're pretty even. Doesn't have to be perfect. If you want it perfect, you can also go ahead and weigh it out, but it's not necessary. And I found when it comes to the kneading and stuff of the dough, it gives it this elasticity that makes it stretch really good. And what I do is, at this point, I roll it out on the oiled surface. And it doesn't have to be perfect. You just try to get it into a rectangle. And then what you're going to do is roll the ends over. And then we're going to set it on a parchment paper cooking sheet. I like using parchment paper because in the cooking process, I found that before you put the dough in the oven, you're going to want to spray it down with water. That helps form a real crispy crust. If you like a real crispy crust, if you don't want a crispy crust, it's still going to taste very good. And all you have to do is you don't spray it with water, just stick it in the oven. You can also coat it with egg wash if you'd like, and put sesame seeds on it. It's all up to you. This is just a real easy bread recipe. It's unforgiving. It's fun to do, and if you got time to make a bread yourself, it's a lot more gratifying to make the bread yourself and to cook it. It always gives me a lot of pleasure when people try my bread and the things that I cook and say, wow, these really taste good. So at this point, the bread is going to look like this on the cookie sheet with the parchment paper. And you can get 2 bigger loaves out of it, or 3 loaves. The 3 loaves are baguettes if you want to make them crispy, crunchy on the outside. Now, then at this point, we're going to cover them up with a towel, and we're going to let them set for about an hour and a half. And we'll come back in a little while, and I'll show you how to cook this off, set it up, and do the spray with the water to get the crust real crispy. I hope you stay tuned and check out the next video. Thank you.